Hi, Laura Antoll here, and I'm going to do something which I don't know if it's going to work or not. Because last time I called this number by accident, actually, last time I tried it, because I wasn't even sure it was going to work, I got a real person, and I didn't want to get a real person. I was hoping I would get a voicemail. But because it's so late at night right now, I'm pretty sure, and it's a Sunday, I'm going to get a machine. And the number that I'm calling right now is Jeffrey Watson at Catholic Law School. Now, let me show off my air conditioning. Jeffrey Watson is Madeline Albright's son-in-law, and he was my contracts professor and my criminal procedure. I think it was criminal procedure. I don't think it was criminal law. I had him twice when I was at Catholic Law School back in the 90s. And I worked at the time, I worked for Professor Destro, who I didn't know was Republican. I worked with Professor Destro on the Committee on Religious Freedom which basically my job was to go to.
There is no one available to take your call. Please record your message after the tone. Press star to discard the recording, or press any digit to end the recording.
I was actually calling to reach Jeffrey R. Watson, who was my law school professor at Catholic Law School. I actually played poker with him once. My name is Laura Ann Tull. My phone number is 424-625-3279. Which is a public number, but for some reason it's also listed as Shonda Rhimes' number, Shondaland's number online. Just so you know, I do not practice law. I resigned from the State Bar of California. I'm not licensed anywhere. I came to California shortly after graduating from law school. I started working on sets in 2003. I earned the right to be SAG-AFTRA. Before going to law school, I had a theater degree and a master's in performing arts management. Now, I believe now that there was sort of maybe not a conspiracy, but more like a group effort to make me quit working in the industry, quit working as a lawyer. Tim Camden went to law school with me, said I didn't need SAG-AFTRA when I do. I got thrown into an institution by Crabtree Ireland, who currently runs SAG-AFTRA, for saying I'm a lawyer who wouldn't practice. In other words, he convinced the cops I really didn't go to law school. I was not mentally ill. You know I went to law school. You were my teacher. You were also Madeline Albright's son-in-law, which is ironic because apparently I have been invited to be supposedly on the Committee for Free Speech. I have a master's in performing arts management from American University, where I wrote papers on droit morale, and I wrote my thesis on First Amendment issues and federal funding. I got a SAG card because one of the jobs I did was a movie called Crazy, starring one of the Finley Four. If I was actually a practicing lawyer, I would be doing First Amendment issues. I was a member of Giles Sutherland Reich's American Inns of Court and was in the copyright section. I do not do patents and trademark. I'm not that tech friendly. And I have been desperately for an attorney because I'm needed a lawyer because I can't be my own lawyer. I can't practice law. I spent most of my time in law school doing things like working for Court TV. Like I was more geared. I was the ABA representative, but for me, it was about service and giving back and helping. And I'm not very good at being a politician either. I really was better at acting, and I made money in 2023 running lines with actors. People may not believe this, but I am better at acting than I'd ever been at being a lawyer. And the idea of spending the rest of my life as a legal secretary or paralegal makes me feel like I am going to be nothing for the rest of my life and actually being the bright, joyful person that I can be. I'm angry at Tim Camden and Cabot Spencer Davis for basically, Cabot actually insinuated I should watch the movie Gaslighting. Jimmy Moyer just got an award for service to the school, and meanwhile, he was difficult for me. He actually knows I'm an actor. He actually made a comment saying I could make money in California as an actor. When I did trial practice classes where I pretended to be a witness or a character for a class in a moot court situation. So I'm kind of frustrated because Nicole Nakagawa, who's a lawyer at SAG-AFTRA, will not let me still in the SAG-AFTRA building. They've been violating my First Amendment rights of association. I wasn't after suing anyone to get rich. I wanted to be able to go back to work as an actor and to be on sets. I was never the kind of person who thought, oh, I can get rich as an attorney by suing people. And yet that's been the implication, or the quote, that's what's been implied to me because I had an accident on a set. It wasn't an accident. Someone tripped me. And I think whoever tripped me is friends with a guy named Jeremy Gilbreth, who actually raped me with his finger. I was raped. And I have proof of that fact because a friend of his actually sent an email to me in 2016 saying to me that it was the cocaine that made him do it. It is atrocious. And I know Catholic apparently may be on the wrong side of all of this with our current POTUS, Donald Trump, who I cannot stand. I'm sorry to say that. I am not a pro-life lawyer. I am a pro-choice lawyer. I'm not that. Yes, I converted to being Catholic. I'm no longer Catholic because of this. Because if I can't have the right to be who I want to be and define who I am not going to ever walk into a Catholic church again because it is acting why I beat breast cancer. Yes, I had breast cancer. I had my implants taken out in 2023. I demand the right to walk back into SAG-AFTRA. I never had a pattern of bad behavior. Crabtree Island was just pissed that I, a woman from the East Coast who didn't go to an Ivy League school, somehow managed to get featured as a lawyer playing a lawyer on Eli Stone. Well, he's apparently a guy who wants to be famous for running SAG-AFTRA. Someone actually sent me a picture of him on the telly in the UK who had my Twitter account shut down.
Press 1 to listen to the recording. Press 2 to save the recording. Press 3 to re-record your message.
I'm saving it.
Message saved. Goodbye.
Bye.